What's going on, everybody? I'm Zach. Sorry for the dogs barking over here. But anyway, so I just changed my YouTube name to Turbo Zach, so I hope y'all like that. I think it's a little bit more fitting for what's going on here. Anyways, go ahead and start this video off. What I'm doing is I'm building a 1,000 wheel horsepower Camaro. Hopefully it's gonna be a reliable 1,000 horsepower, nothing that's gonna break every couple weeks or every pass. Hopefully I'm gonna try to keep it pretty streetable as well. I'm not sure how that's gonna happen. I guess that mainly depend on the cam that I go with. Also, if you could just go ahead and throw a like, share, subscribe. Really just subscribe, trying to get that up there a little bit. And yeah. So what we got going on over here is that my heads are off. They're over there on my table. They're completely disassembled, and I'm gonna be sending them off to K-Tech to be ported. Their flow rates are on their website, and their turnaround time is pretty quick, all for a reasonable price. I think it was like exactly $500 to have them shipped off, ported, and sent back to me. Sorry about that. And then, so while that's going on, I'm also gonna go ahead and replace that whole valve train. Well, next I'm gonna be pulling out the bottom end here. As you can see, I don't even have the heads like wrapped up, or the port. I don't even have the pistons wrapped up because I'm swapping all that out too. I'll be switching over to TS. I think I'm going with the Texas Speed 416 cubic inch engine, or rotating assembly, excuse me. And those are forged internals. I'm gonna be keeping the. So go ahead and switch this back around here so you can see my face. I'm putting those into I'm putting forged internals in. That way it'll be more reliable and can handle the power. Now I know the 376 is pretty capable. It's pretty good bottom end. It can handle a lot of power, but I just want to go ahead and get that switched out. It'll give me a little bit more power too, and ease of mind that I'm not gonna have to have a whole new block because my entire rotating assembly snapped. Now I know the Texas Speed one is pretty good. I was looking at one of the Eagle cranks that GPI sells, but I think that this one's gonna be a better bang for my buck. And I've heard a lot of good stuff about this rotating assembly, the Texas Speed one that I'm purchasing. So I'm gonna call them up. I'm also gonna keep the compression lower, about 9.5 to 1. And I'm doing that because I am running a turbo also, as my name implies. That's a little shaky. So I also don't have E85 in this area right now. So I'm in the Army and I'm stationed in BFE, Georgia right now. So there's no E85 locally. I think the closest one's about an hour away, and I'm not about to keep you driving an hour just to be filling up, once a week or whatever, depending on how much I drive this thing. But so that's the plan right now. I'm gonna take out the bottom end. I'm going to put a new rotating assembly in, get it up to about 416 cubic inches. Then we are going to have the heads ported and sent back. I'm putting a new valve train in there. I'm gonna put a new cam in. I'm thinking either TSP again or a GPI turbo cam. And then, that would be able to handle the boost as well. And then lastly, my turbo. So I have a single turbo from Huron Speed, their kit there. Now I do know there's some issues with boost creep on that I've seen recently. I haven't had an issue with that yet, but if it ends up being an issue for me, then well, we'll just shift fire and adjust. That's not the biggest that's not the biggest concern that I have right now. Mine is just trying to get this engine out and sent off and get the parts here on time, because I'm trying to have this done by the end of the year. I am doing all this work by myself, which is really annoying because I just don't have an extra set of hands or anybody knowledgeable. The lower end though, I'm gonna have that sent off to, I believe I'm gonna go with TKM. I know John Doc had a lot of stuff sent to them. He works with them a lot, and they handle a lot of high horsepower builds. So I'll take it to them to have the bottom end or the short block rebuilt with that new rotating assembly. From there, so I did tune the last one. I was running about 5 PSI on the boost kit, and I had a few issues. You can see in my previous video that I used, the Tuning School's tuning material. I would not recommend their stuff, but I do not think that is what caused this issue. And maybe it was, maybe I'm just not knowledgeable enough of it, but I'd been logging it actually about an hour before the incident occurred. And what happened was I was sitting in traffic. I'd not been in boost that day at all, actually. And the other day I'd just been doing normal driving, trying to log some more data. Well, this time I had closed my laptop. I'm sitting there at a red light, and all of a sudden my dashboard just lights up like a Christmas tree. And it starts making this weird noise. I couldn't even replicate the noise. So I get it home, I put it in my garage, and I decide to let the car cool off for a bit. And I go ahead and take the spark plugs off. That's the first thing I did. And they're just caked in oil, like really bad caked in oil. And so, I mean, I still had compression. It's just, I don't know what was going on. So getting a little more into it, I'm pretty sure that my piston rings, something happened there. We'll find out here shortly. But the cylinder walls all look really good still. So I think I just had excessive blow by and got to the point to where just more oil was getting pushed through it. Because there's a lot of oil in places where it shouldn't have been. So I think that might have been an issue. Now I was not running a catch can. You can go ahead and make fun of me for that. But I did not think it was going to be an issue with 5 PSI. Because the goal was to have it all done, tuned, and then I was going to up the boost, right? And then I was going to get all that, but I was being stupid. And I don't think, who knows, right? But was it the tune? Was it my own stupid fault? We don't know. But what I do know is that the block is good, and I'm going to be making it a very powerful Camaro, hopefully the fastest Camaro in my area. I don't actually think there's too many of them. Being in a military town, it's mostly Mustangs. So, yeah, it's going to be me. Pull the engine out, disassemble the entire short block, clean it up, order my rotating assembly. I actually need to go call TSP here in a little bit. Get that rotating assembly sent to me, buy my cam, and then have that short block sent off to wherever I'm going to send it off to have it built. So that way it's going to be good, reliable power. And I know it's going to be done right versus me who's doing it in my garage by myself who's never done this before. So that's going to be sent off, and then I'm going to have my heads. They should be back here pretty soon once I send those off. And then have all that dropped in. Now, going back to the turbo, I'm not sure if I said this earlier, but I'm going to be running 8 to 10 PSI off this off my turbo kit here. It's a 76 millimeter turbo. Nothing big. It's a little bit on the smaller side, but it does well. I was talking to a guy on Instagram who has one, and he was at like 850 horsepower, and he still had a lot of room to go. He's had to rebuild his engine twice. Once was a lifter failure, and the other issue, I'm not sure. But he was the one who actually had the problems with boost creep. So we're going to see, right? Hopefully I don't have that issue. I think his post said that he had to... that the shop had to weld in another wastegate, which is fine with me. I just want this thing running because it's been on and off for a year. That has been up and down. Now my turbo, I am running a single turbo kit, and it's actually an oilless turbo. So I'm using coolant to cool the turbo. So I'm gonna have to switch to some braided line or some power. I'm gonna have to switch to some different lines. I was just using coolant lines to run that, and I would not suggest that because you're gonna melt those really fast. In the kit, they did send me some lines for the oil, so I just need to see if I can configure that to this one. It shouldn't be a problem. It should be pretty easy to do. But yeah, so once that short block comes back, we're gonna be moving. I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble the top end. I'm going to powder coat the turbo manifolds, so that way I have less of a heat issue, because right now I have it heat wrapped. I just don't think that's good enough. So I'm just going to go ahead and powder coat all those, try to keep it, I think that's the term for it, powder coating? Yeah, well, I'm going to make sure it's all, keep the heat levels lower, because I even noticed on the top of my hood here, it's melted a little bit. So that's not cool. Yeah, so that's where we're at right now. I have a video on disassembling my heads completely that I'll post up. It's gonna be a short video because it doesn't take that long to do that actually. For each valve and everything, it took me maybe like 5 minutes for a set of 2. Not long at all. So yeah, new rotating assembly, ported heads, new camshaft, valve train, and then the turbo. Yeah, so from there, I think the biggest hitch on this build is going to be the fuel. Now I have fuel injectors that are 95 pound an hour, and they can handle that no problem. I think the biggest issue is going to be my fuel pump, because I'm currently running a ZL1 fuel pump that I put in last year. And I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and get a BAP for that. And from my understanding, that can take you up to 850 horsepower, wheel horsepower. So I might just let it run at that for a little bit. And then as things break, because I know things are going to break real fast, as in like my rear end might snap or some tie rods, I'm just going to keep building it up as things break. Especially the drive shaft. That's going to be the next thing on the list, actually. Anyways, back on topic. I think the biggest issue is going to be fueling. So, as I said, we're building this thing, and it's going to take a while. Okay, I understand that because I don't have the most time, right? Being in the Army, they take all your time. And then I have an 8-month-old little girl, wife. So, a lot of things going on. I could have probably had this done a long time ago if my work responsibilities were not what they are. But, hey, that's life, right? So... and then also I'm going to make sure I can keep it compatible to switch over to that E85, because maybe, hopefully I can get a new assignment, or if I leave the Army, I can have that option to switch over to E85 pretty quickly. And I know my injectors can handle E85 as well. So I'm getting way off topic here. Please subscribe, throw a like, subscribe, share, or don't, just come back, watch the videos, have some fun, and learn. That's what I'm doing right now. Love learning about cars. I'm currently reading more tuning books. I want to get more into tuning. And yeah, this is the start of it all. Enjoy. Thanks for coming by.